a parallel box plot and use it to solve a question. So we're asked to, from the following datasets, determine the 5-figure summaries, construct a parallel box plot, and determine the better student. So we have Jim and we have Fred, and these are their scores for a particular group of tests or exams or classes or something. And we're going to make a box plot for, essentially a parallel box plot is two box plots using the same scale, or multiple box plots using the same scale. So, first thing we need to do is check if all the data is in order, which it isn't. So let's do Jim, and let's see, what's our lowest value? Our lowest value is going to be 63. So let's write 63. And we might just start crossing these off. An easy way to do this is to write it up and then cross it off. So 69. And then if anything's left over and it's out of place, you can adjust it afterwards. So the next lowest one looks like it's going to be 70. And then 72. But we have two of them, so there's the next 72. And then 73. And is there anything else? So, nope, looks like it goes to 75. And 75. And then 76. And then 78. 79. And finally 81. Okay, and now we'll do Fred. We'll just leave some space. Fred. So Fred, what's your lowest score? Looks like it's 68. And then anything left in the 60s? Doesn't look like it, so we'll go to 70. And then there's another 70. And looks like 72. 73. 74. Sorry, 74. And then we have 74 again. And then 75. And 75 again. And then we have 76 and 77. Okay, so now that they've both been reordered, we can determine the 5-figure summaries to solve, to create our box plots. So our minimum value for Jim is going to be the smallest value, which is going to be 63. Our maximum value for Jim is going to be our highest value, which is going to be 81. And we'll do the same for Fred. Minimum equals 68. Maximum equals 77. And then we need to check, find the median. So how many data points do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 should cut them into 6 and 6. So 6 either side of that line, which means we add 73 and 75 together and we divide it by 2. Is equal to 73 plus 75 over 2. This is a 5, which equals 148 over 2, which equals 74. And then we'll do the median for Fred. Because they have the same number of data points, it should be the sixth one along. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Draw a line there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. Oh. 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. Looks like we're missing a value. So we have, oh, we've left out a 76. So 6 and then 77. So we forgot to put in this 76 over here. Okay, so it should be 6 other side now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So because the median is between 74 and 74, if we add those together and divide by 2, we're just going to get 74. Because 2 times 74 divided by 2 is just 74. And now we can look at our quartiles. So let's do Fred. So Q1 is going to be, because it's even, it's going to be the average between 70 and 72, which is going to be 142 over 2, which is just going to be 71. And our quartile 3 is going to be the average of these two here, which is going to be equal to, what do we got? We got 140 plus 14, we got 154 over 2, which is going to be equal to 77. Okay, so that's our quartile 3. And now we just need to do the same for Fred. So quartile 1 is going to be the average between 70 and 72, which is again going to be 71. And quartile 3 is going to be the average between 75 and 76. And halfway between 75 and 76 is just going to be 75.5. Okay, so we've done all that, and now we just need to create our box plots. So in order to create our box plots, we're just going to draw up a scale, and our lowest value is from 68 to 63, so we're going to probably just start at 60. I might make some room. Just going to grab Fred's scores and move them a bit. I'll move Fred's scores up here, and we will go back to our pen. Okay, so we're just going to do our quick scale. So let's start at 60, and we'll go up to here, I guess. So we'll start at 60, and then we can say 60, 65, 70, 75, and then 80, 85. And do we need to go any higher? I don't think we do. So we can just cap it there. And now we just add in the details. So I might just change colors, and we'll do this in some pink. So let's do Jim first. Jim's minimum score was 63. 61, 2, 3, something like here will be his first whisker. And then after that we have his maximum, which is going to be 81. So something like here. After that, we have our median, which is going to be 74. So let's put that here. And we'll put in our quartile 1, which is going to be 71. And our quartile 3, which is going to be 77. Now these are pretty rough guesses, but so for your one, just make sure you're doing a better job than I am when it comes to the scale and and being more accurate with where you're placing everything. So the next one we have to do is Fred's. So Fred had a minimum score of 68. So we'll do Fred in green. 68. Something like here. And then he had a maximum score of 77. So we've already said that 77 is here. Now we just need to put in the additional information. Quartile 1 is going to be 71, which is the same for both of them. And then quartile 3 is going to be 75.5, so roughly here-ish. Just past the 75 mark. And then we have a quartile, we have our median, which is going to be 74. Something like here. Let me draw it all up. Okay, so when it comes to the question of who is a better student, we just need to consider a few different things, because obviously it's not going to be super clear-cut who is the best student. So really we just want to list some facts. So we know that we know that Jim had the highest score. So Jim had the highest score. And we can say as well that he also had the lowest mark. Oh, sorry. No, we can say that he had he didn't have the lowest mark. It's confusing to write these in different colors than what you're actually talking about. So just make sure that you're aware of which one you're actually speaking about. So Jim is not in green for our purposes. Which gives me another thing you should do with your parallel box plots, is you should label each one. So this is Jim, and this is Fred. So what we could say is that Jim had the highest score, but he also had the lowest score, and the kind of the biggest range of scores. We can also say that Fred had, because of this is our median, so 50% of Fred's scores here were above 74, and he had a very small range. So even though he didn't have the highest scores, he was much more consistent. You can see his range is much smaller. A larger percentage of his scores are above 74, which is quite good. Jim, on the other hand, we have 50% of his scores are above 70. What do we say for Jim? So 50% of the scores are above 74, and we can say that 50% of his scores are, of course, below that. But as it comes to who is the better student, it's really subjective, and you're probably just going to write out facts. So we can write that Jim had the highest score, and we can also write that Jim had the lowest mark of 60, which one's 63? And we can also write that Fred the top 25% all had a very similar, so Fred's top 25% were all similar scores. And we can say that both had the same median, but yes, and we can say both had the same median. So with all this information, even though Jim has had higher scores, he's also had much more lower scores. So when it comes to who's the better student, we're going to say it's Fred because his scores are much more consistent. And although Jim has a few very good scores, he has a much larger range of scores. So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. Who's the better student is a very subjective question. You can probably find ways to support for either here, and as long as you give support. If you're saying that the best way to measure a student is by how many high scores they got rather than how consistent they are, then it's going to be Jim. But if we're asking how consistently they performed across many different tests, then the answer is going to be Fred.